Hey friends, family, and folks, thanks for tuning in. I have an invitation for you that I hope you accept on whatever level you're able to. And I'm going to start with a little story. Surprise. Bill Kilpatrick is a man in our community. He's brave, he's intellectual, and he is a great support to my heart as it is gaslit daily in our communities. And I want to tell you about how I first met Bill because I think the prefacing with this is can have some impact. And how I met Bill was I was just starting into a role, a professional role of ministry in the Christian tradition in our community. And another minister, Lynn Watson, she had started up something that was titled Theology on Tap. So you could go to the local pub, have a beer, and speak about theology. And it was neat in this small little community. We had a Buddhist, and we had atheist, and we had really fundamental Christians, and so on. And I thought I was going to go and be quiet, but that didn't happen, of course. But anyhow, it ended up in resulting in quite a bit of banter between Bill and I across this table with this man I had never met before. And when we were done, when Theology on Tap officially closed, we walked around the table and I extended my hand out to greet him. And he said, "I think we're past that." And he gave me a hug. And then we walked to the parking lot where we were both parked with a friend and his young son. And his son was about 8 or 9 at the time. And his son was telling me all about this really great secondhand chair that he had just purchased at an auction before coming to Theology on Tap. And so he wanted to show me. So and in the meantime, Bill and I are bantering back and forth about whether God really exists or doesn't and so on. And we were having such fun and banter and intellectual discourse on these types of things. So we get to the van and I see this chair, and oh, if there was ever a chair that was for Susie, that is it. And so I teased this young son of his that, oh, this has my name on it. And before you knew it, I had jumped up in the back of this van and I was sitting like Queen Bee on this chair. And the friend that I was with at the time said, "Susie, only you would, jump into a stranger's van." So she took a picture. And the next day she sent it to me. And I kid you not, and I exaggerate not, I had a complete and utter perfect halo over my head with how the light had reflected in this van. So I sent it to Bill Kilpatrick and I said, "What do you get when you put a local minister in an atheist van?" And that was the beginning of our friendship. And we've been community friends over the years, dropping in on each other here and there. Our bond that occurred and began that way has strengthened over the last little while, last year or two, and that's because our country's been under threat and under attack. And he very much supports and waters my gaslit heart as we are walking through such trying times. So the reason I tell and preface with that story is that is community. That's two people who had very differing ideas of how they saw the world, coming together, enjoying each other's views, and building a friendship. And this is what Bill and I are inviting you to. Every Wednesday, so starting tomorrow, January 28th, and don't feel like you have to come to everyone. You can jump on and off this bandwagon. But if you can come to everyone, it'll be great, because we would like to review the book by Hannah Arendt. It was written in 1951. She's a political theorist. She lived through, she actually was imprisoned by the Gestapo, and she coined the phrase, the banality of evil. And that is what we are all facing today in the world. Don't quote me on stats. I'm not good at them and I'm not interested in them that much, but they have impact. And one of them is 72% of the world's population is under some rule of authoritarian rule where democracies are crumbling as we speak. And of course, the big superpower of the United States is in stage 4 of fascism. So what we are trying to do is cause a resistance just by getting together and sharing our thoughts. So what the idea is a book review of Hannah Arendt's book, Totalitarianism, and we will listen to an audio version of that for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have some discussion around it over a beverage or two, and maybe even a treat from my kitchen if I get around to it, and have a discussion as community. How do we see what's going on right now? Where are the parallels? And I'm going to tell you, my big fear is Alberta and the fracturing, because if you look at the history of Ukraine, where you're next to an authoritarian rule, they typically and historically invade the country next to them. So Canada is certainly at risk, and we hear all kinds of threats about that in the last year. And we cannot change the world, but we can affect the world within our reach. And Bill and I have decided to try to build community around the education of such movements that are evil. I don't use that word very often, but that's really the best answer for it. And we feel paralyzed, and it becomes normalized. And I want you to know that, again, statistically, or whatever the stats, the numbers, 3% of the population was in favor of the Nazi movement. 3%. What makes that movement take millions of lives in very cruel manners is that 97% did nothing. They kept their sign in the window. I'm not accusing you or me, because what do we do? Bill and I don't know what to do, but we want to do something. Please come and join us to do something. We're going to do something else, as our Prime Minister says. We, as Canada, are going to do something else, and Ukraine people are warning us for a year and a half now, saying this is how it happens. They start to do meddling in your politics, and this is not new. It's been decades. The division we see in Canada is like nothing we've seen in history, the fear and the hate. And it is very easy to be against something. It's much harder work to be for something. Come out and join Bill and I for something. And we are for freedom. Not blue, not red, not black, not yellow, not in between. And we don't really mind what color your skin is and what your religion is, or any of these divisive tools used by tools used to divide us. Please come, and we only want people who are not perfect, and we only want people who haven't figured it out. Because that's what we're here, is to accept the imperfection of each other's, have good dialogue, and build community around the delicacy of democracy and how it is as Canadians, we, in our small community and Abound, are going to do something. A little bit of something's way better than nothing. Come join us. We might have cinnamon rolls. Cheers. Thank you for listening. Please share and hit the like and all that stuff. Thanks.